And hello, everybody. I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer, and it is so good to have you here. I've been gone for a week, so I haven't been on here, haven't been doing any lives or anything like that. So, our show is sponsored by Chris Dental Family Dentistry, Dr. Michael Bratland. He's a great guy, and he really believes in the power of you. That's putting it the way I would put it the best. He really believes in people and that you have the right to believe what you believe. He gets a lot of flack for that, but thanks to Diane. But he doesn't care. And I think that's where we all need to get to, is to a point where we just stop caring what other people think about us and what we're doing. You have to be true to your own beliefs, and it doesn't matter what people say to you or what they do. You just have to stand up to it. I saw people, again, blasting me and my business this week on a page out of Oregon. And what they don't understand is, yeah, that does hurt business, but that's not going to stop me from saying the things that I think I need to say. I wrote a blog, and that's what I kind of wanted to talk about here. And if you guys have other topics, you can bring them up. I'm more than willing to talk about whatever you want. But I think, I wrote a blog, and I was talking about maybe it's time we start talking again. The Democrats and the Republicans, people with different ideologies, maybe people who believe that abortion is wrong and people that believe that abortion should be legal. And maybe we need to have these open kind of discussions. And from the response that I got from that, I went, you know what? We're not ready. We're not ready for that. And let me just speak from a guy who's more conservative. I don't consider myself a Republican, but I consider myself someone who's a more conservative guy. And for years, I had to put up with a liberal ideology when I lived in Eugene, Oregon, and I thought differently, but it was always assumed that I just believed what everybody else was saying. Not caring about government child sex trafficking ring is wild. I didn't say I don't care about that, Joseph. Is that what you're allegedly accusing me of? See, that's what people do. That's just bullshit. And I don't know how you meant that, Joseph, and maybe you meant it in a different way. But we make so many assumptions about the words that people say without asking them a question first. We just jump all over people. And I think people are tired of it. I think we're done with it. I think what you're seeing right now happening is a whole bunch of people. And here's the thing, we got to come up with a new term, because I know a ton of Democrats who agree with me on a lot of this. Is they're done too. They don't want the country to go into the toilet like it is. They don't believe in this far left ideology that's taken over the Democrat Party. The AOCs, the Bernies, the Elizabeth Warrens, the nut job in New York City, who's the candidate for mayor who's probably going to win. That isn't the Democrat Party. Those are the people who've hijacked the Democrat Party. I think most of the Democrats I know are kind, considerate people. We may disagree on certain ideologies, but what's wrong with that? Why can't we have that conversation? Why can't we talk about that stuff? I'm not supportive of abortion. I don't think it's right. But if you want to choose to do that and it's legal, then that's your business. It's none of mine. But don't ask me to pay for it. And that's why I like what Trump is doing right now. You said to stop caring, blind support of a felon. That's wild. Joseph, fuck off. Seriously, you're barking up the wrong tree. Support of a felon, blind support of a felon. How did Donald Trump get convicted of a felony? Because people in your party railroaded him. And you're about to find out what happens when Obama and them get discovered, aren't you, Joseph? So you can talk all big because you're behind a camera, but you don't know your head from your ass. I'm always going to listen to you as a friend from the 80s in Eugene. We don't have to agree, just respect each other's views. Exactly, Leota. Um, in my party, LOL. Yeah, what party are you, Joseph? Are you just you're just like here to blab? Oh, hold on, I gotta hang that up. Somebody's trying to call in. Oh, let's go over here. Thank you, Rick. You're welcome, Kathy. Apparently, Jay is unstable. Um, Rick, keep fighting for the world, brother. I promise, Brian, I will. Hey, Ryan, how are you? I agree. Some things are not my business, and I shouldn't have to pay for things that are none of my business. It's the same way I feel about public television and PBS. They're very biased, and you don't have to think so. That's your business. I'm a journalist. I was a journalist for 30 years. I'm a professional. I know bullshit when I hear it. I was trained on how to do this. And PBS and public television has been biased for decades. Just because you don't see it or you don't agree or you agree with their position doesn't mean it's fair. So here's my bottom line though. I don't want to censor them, not even close. I don't want to censor them. PBS and all of them should be able to do whatever they want. But don't come looking to me, the taxpayer, to pay for it when you're blatantly positioning propaganda in your messaging. Don't come looking for me. So I'm a businessman. I don't get government funding. Could you imagine if the government were helping fund this? You'd go crazy. But you're okay because it's your ideology on PBS. That's what's wrong, Joseph, with what your ideology is. And I am so, somebody the other day I said, I look to agree. NPR and PBS shouldn't be taxpayer funded. Not at all. How that's ever happened is just ridiculous. I mean, and then they get a pass by everybody. It's like, oh, they're the fair ones. They're not fair. They're not balanced or equal. There's not journalism. That's propaganda. I know me and you, we don't have the same opinion on things. I always respect your points on things. I am so tired of all the new taxes to the Oregon government. Love you, brother. You're so fucking direct, and we need more of it. Well, there you go, Joshua. I don't know what we disagree on, but that's okay too. I'm not worried about it at all. Sorry, I'm looking over here because I got both my cameras on this side of the room, but I got to look over here to find you guys. So yeah, I love the direction we're going. We're finally becoming fair. Let's be equitable. Let's be fair about this stuff. So if you're going to put out propaganda, then you don't get federal funding. You don't get dollars from the government. And the same thing I think should be true with abortion. I shouldn't be paying for a practice. I'm not censoring it. You can do that if you want, if it's legal, but I shouldn't have to pay when my faith tells me that that's not something that is a right or a righteous thing. So we don't have to get all locked up on the abortion issue. But when it comes to funding, I don't want to pay for things that I find objectionable. And you shouldn't have to pay for them either. That's just fair. Should it be allowed in our country? Well, that's up to each state, isn't it? And so I don't agree with it. But if my state where I live says this is what we're going to do, then that's what they're going to do. I don't have to agree with it. Obama changed the law on propaganda in the news media. Well, Mr. Obama's in some trouble right now. Love the music on NPR, but as soon as the heads start talking, it's heavily biased left-wing BS, and I move on. It's completely. And if you can't see that, it's because you're too tied to your ideology. Kevin says, too much hate in the Democrat Party. It's sad. Should be able to disagree and go have a cup of coffee. Trump derailment. That's the other one. Trump derangement syndrome is a thing. And I swear there are so many people that have it. And some of the emails, I should save them and just post them for you guys to see. Some of the emails and the messages I get and the comments that are hidden on fake accounts and all that. And then I have my name in when I ran for office, I put it in here. And so anytime my name is said, it pops up, it alerts me. So all these people that write, think they're keyboard warriors behind the keys and nobody's seeing it. I see what you write. So I know who you are and I know what you are. Back in my day, if a newspaper gave his view, there was a disclaimer that said opinions. Exactly, Terrell. When I worked in the news, you at least had to go get a second interview on the opposite source. So if you had an anti-timber person, you had to go find a pro-timber person, or they wouldn't let you do the story. That's not the case today. How would anyone feel about NPR if all the shows were conservative? Would people still want them funded? I wouldn't. Not at all. If I don't think there should be conservative shows funded, and are there any? There's not that I know of, but I don't think they should be funded. I don't want anybody's point of view being on there. No, it's like no. But you notice there's not. Yeah, I don't see anybody going, who's a conservative? Like, is Glenn Beck? Yeah, Glenn Beck. So is Glenn Beck getting federal funding? No. Is who else is it? Well, Rush Limbaugh's dead, so he's not. Left wingers won't engage. They have been too indoctrinated. Liberals are willing to talk with conservatives and vice versa. But yeah, nobody should be getting them. And that's the way it should be. And here's the deal. You know, are they going to go bankrupt? Hell no. You know, they'll have donors. If Eugene Weekly in Eugene went bankrupt and then people came forward to support that rag paper, PBS can get money. If people will support that, Lars Larson, he's not federally funded, Ula, not at all. He's a private business who does the same thing I do. I have to go out and get customers who sponsor my shows and my work that I do, and then that's how I get paid. So yeah, Lars Larson does not get federal dollars. He gets all of it. In fact, he has so many ads, it drives me crazy if I ever listen to him. But no, he doesn't get federal dollars. It is really, you know, I when I wrote the blog originally, I thought, you know, I heard a woman who's a very liberal podcaster, really cool lady, Anna something, I can't remember. I posted it the other day. But she was talking. She says, we're never going to get anywhere until we start talking. And I thought, you know, we really do need to start talking with people. But I put that out there. And some of the responses I got, even from, I know that I was giving an example. Oh, okay, Ula. And even some of the responses from the right-wing people were like, hell no. But I think for me, as a guy who's put up with this, and when you live in Oregon, and I don't anymore, but when I lived in Oregon, you had to be so careful what you said to other people, because if they figured out that you were not a super liberal person, that you had some conservative blood running through your veins, then you were discounted. And I was in a business, so you couldn't do that. And I understand when people can't speak out. I don't care anymore. Once the pandemic, the COVID bullshit hit, I was done. Over. I will never shut up again. And I took so much heat for that, and my reputation got tainted for certain people, and people would come on and go, I remember when I used to really trust you and I really liked you. And it's like, that's because you didn't know me. You liked the person that KEZI presented and created. It's not, you didn't like me. But plus, what is that about? So you like people based on if you agree with them? Is that really a human standard? That's so interesting, isn't it? I liked you when I thought you agreed with me and believed everything I believed. But once I found out you had a brain of your own and you had feelings and thoughts that didn't line up with mine, then I couldn't like you anymore. Shallow. The very definition of shallow. Oh my God. But people do that. I have a lady here in Montana and she hates me. She's on one of my pages and she just hates me. And it doesn't matter what I say, she has Trump derangement syndrome and she just goes after it. And so she was talking about, I did this hike and it was really hard and I'm afraid of heights. So it was mentally challenging for me. The physical aspect of it was really hard too, but it was more mentally challenging for me. And so she comes on and says some snide ass comment to me. And so I wrote her back. My comment back was, her name's Eileen. I've named her Eileen to the left. So I leaned to the left and I said, Eileen, You couldn't get up that mountain because of all the baggage you're carrying from your Trump derangement syndrome. I haven't heard back. Agree to disagree. I don't even like that saying anymore, Curve Air. I just it's I don't, and it's not offense to you, no, nothing to you, but I don't like that saying anymore. There's an 8 mile long road being torn into the Amazon rainforest in Brazil across the protected nature. Save the Amazon. I can see why your name is Redneck Screw Loose. There will never be a dialogue. The social communists will never bend. I saw her recently. Oh, you saw her post? Yeah. If you put up a good material, people will listen. If you ever listen to conservative talk radio, like Lars, conservatives call and will say, I agree with 95%, and it makes great talk radio. Left wing or NPR is just a love fest, and you can't disagree with them. Thought exercise. Due to the personal nature of abortion and 2A, I like to compare the laws between the two. Should government pay for handguns for anyone who can't afford one? Good point, Mark. Veronica laughs. Oh, you liked my comment to her? I thought that's pretty good, don't you? I mean, not to pat myself on the back. She went from 150 to 410 pounds, blood clots, myocardial issues, rash, etc. Jay, who are you talking about? I might have just picked up on that, and I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you're being funny, or if there's something that I don't want to make fun of because you're actually there. So I was listening to oh, your wife. Okay. So I was listening to a talk show today, and it really kind of blew me away. It was a guy talking, a younger guy who goes out and talks to a lot of people, and the difficulty young men are having right now. And I think part of that is because, hey Chase, how you doing? Um, we've kind of not allowed men to be men, in my opinion. And for younger guys, according to this podcaster I was listening to, or he was the guest, and he was just saying that a lot of guys, they're in their 30s and they still don't have a home. They don't have enough money because housing costs are just so astronomically high. I mean, I remember the first house I bought in, oh God, I mean, Kathy and I are married, so it's probably in the 80s, late 80s. And it was like $56,000 for a 1,200 square foot house. And then so we bought that, and then we were able to sell that and move up and then remodel that house and get that up to a place where we could get into what we are now. But people don't have that option today. I mean, it's the option is there, but how do you start out when you're buying a home, and your house payment's $2,800 for, a $500,000 home, and you've got kids, maybe not, I mean, it's really hard. And so, Mark and both, your question gives me hope for a few of you up there. Well, look at the average house cost in Oregon is crazy right now. Oh, I know. I don't even know what the average in Oregon is. But do you remember when $500,000 was a lot to spend on a house? And now people don't even blink an eye at that. That's like I mean, I don't mean this, but that's like a deal for people. And if you get into a $300,000 and $400,000 house, you're kind of looking at a dump. And that used to be a really nice house. So what do you do? Carrie, I don't know. I mean, interest rates have to come down. Jerome Powell needs to bring those interest rates down. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a housing expert. I'm not, I should, and if I could go out and look for a realtor to come on talk, but I don't think a realtor is the right person. You know what I mean? I don't think, and any mortgage person is going to be trying to sell you a mortgage. I don't know what you do, at this point. But because it's not like you can go back and just reduce the price of all houses. I mean, here in Montana, our property taxes this year, mine went up 38%, or my value, excuse me. My market value on my house went up 38%. So when they go to add the property taxes on, my property taxes are going to go up 38%. Well, who can afford that? You know what I mean? When you buy a house, here's your house payment with your taxes. You assume they might go up 2 or 3, 5%, something like that. But 38%? My neighbors were 45. Stop corrupt corporate and foreign investment into family housing. You mean like BlackRock? Yeah, like get BlackRock to quit scooping up all the single family houses and then renting them for astronomical prices. Teresa Howell, I think you are a great person no matter what people say. Oh, well, well, thank, oh, my friends. Thank you. I appreciate that. Average housing costs in Oregon, 2025. ULA, oh, 507. The average housing cost, according to what ULA just looked up, is $507,000. There was a video posted of an airplane catching fire recently, and a guy named Adam Berry blamed President Trump for the fire and stated the airline industry. I replied in his comment that many airline industries were fired under Biden. Blankety blank. Clearly, he read my comment because he was violently abusive in words. I'm really sorry that happened to you, Cheryl. I'm not being a smartass, but after you do it for a while, you get used to it. You don't have any feelings left. Yeah, you're not as bad as they say. Oh, thanks, Chase. I really appreciate it. You're like an 8 to 10. You're no making money. You're no making money on 38% value increase unless you sell your house. No, but my income taxes are going to go up. My property taxes, I mean, are going to go up. The housing market will go up if Oregon gets rid of the urban growth boundaries. Oh, Mike, there's a good, yeah. The problem in Oregon, and I can specifically speak to Eugene and Springfield because that's where I worked for a long time as a news anchor. The problem is you got all these no growth people, which I understand that. I don't like growth either, and I don't want farmland eaten up. But in Eugene and Springfield, they hadn't, when I was there, now this could be old facts, but they hadn't expanded the urban growth boundary in 30 years. They were behind in housing by decades. Like, so what the projection was, how many people were going to move there? They were behind by like 25 years. So what's that going to do to the cost? And then the same people who vote to do that shit are saying we need a more affordable housing. Well, the reason you don't have affordable housing, you moron, is because you will not open up the urban growth boundary and allow more houses. When you have less land, the price of housing goes up, you stupid idiots. That's because you have people in office who have never had a business. They've just always lived off the public dole. I'm selling, which is good, but I want to buy again, and it's not fun. Yeah, I can't sell right now because I want to make sure that the interest rates come down. Eugene hardly grows at all. They definitely need to expand. Yeah, but you got all these people on the Eugene City Council, not all of them, but a group, so angry. I am, Chase, that won't bend. And so they want every little block. If you notice in Eugene now, you go in and every little square inch of property is now a house. They don't even have yards anymore. The two-party system keeps us distracted with division, but always manages to devalue our currency with trillions in deficit spending adding to the debt. Oregon's land use planning drove up cost of buildable land. I saw it happen immediately in the 70s and 80s. Yep. Because the what's their name? They always have a conservancy group, but you know who I'm talking about. The urban growth boundary is another Marxist top to the rule of libtards. Damn it, I couldn't finish that. It's because Katina, you had a huge thing you wanted to write, and Instagram only lets you have like this much room to do anything. It's so frustrating. It's really frustrating. Wait till you start writing stuff on and putting it on Instagram. So, you guys, just for your information, tomorrow night at the same time, 4:00 your time in Oregon, 5:00 my time in Montana. I have a woman coming on. It's amazing. It's amazingly sad story. She's a friend of mine. She and her husband are tattoo artists in Eugene. And a week and a half ago, I think it was, her mom and dad and their daughter were in a car near Vegas, and they were going on their anniversary, their 49th wedding anniversary. They came up over a hill. Some guy that was been passing went head on into them, and both of them died, with the granddaughter in the car in the back seat watching her grandparents die. And Michelle's really struggling with this, and she wants to come on and talk about what happened because she loves her parents. And so she's going to come on. And then this group of motorcycle gang people, not gang, but motorcycle riders, they look like Hell's Angels people. They're really awesome. But they came along right after the accident and they pulled the daughter out. The parents were squished in the front and they got the daughter out of the car and basically saved her life. And she's trying to get them to come on too. So it's a really sad story, but it's also, she needs to get that out. And she's a super cool person. She and her husband are just wonderful people. And so anyway, club, thank you. Thank you. Why do all the hippies move to Eugene? There's no work there. I think, you know what? When I first moved to Eugene, the hippies were the people who had the Volvos with the bumper stickers that said, kill your television, don't trust big pharma, don't trust your government, and all that. Now those are the Republicans. and it's really not the hippies, it's more the left-wing people. Because the hippies, when I did a series years ago on homeschooling in Oregon, everybody said, oh, it's going to be a bunch of Christian parents keeping their kids out of school. And it's not. It wasn't. It was hippies. They didn't trust the school system. I love hippies. I think at least they're honest and they believe what they believe, I used to see this guy at this really hippie coffee shop in Eugene, a super wandering goat. And he always carried a gun on his hip. And he's in there and he was like adamant about vegan. And if you had anything that wasn't vegan, he'd come up and go, Rick, what are you eating that for? But he was a great guy, but he was packing heat all the time. I did not quit TikTok. I just haven't. I don't do lives on there anymore because I wasn't getting much traction. And I've only got so much time in my life. And to do this and Instagram and Facebook and my website and all that, it was getting to be too much. I would agree your governor in Oregon is an idiot. Josh says, and hang out with the girl until the paramedics got there. Yes, they stayed until the paramedics got there. Thank you, Montana girl. It's nice to see you over here too. I'll go back there once in a while. You disagree? Your lives were hot. I should probably do it. It's just, it got to be so much. And it's like, and TikTok is weird about, where Instagram, once we got rid of Biden, then Instagram and Facebook stopped throttling my content because they didn't like the stuff that we talk about. TikTok still, like, if I said some of the things I've said already, they probably already have shut me down for the night. And then they give you like a week. You're in penance for a week, and then you come back and it's like, I just don't want to bow to the Chinese. You know what I mean? We got nothing against Chinese people, but this TikTok is just run weird, and I don't like being controlled, and so I kind of stopped. I can't take a person with multicolored hair seriously. Are you talking about me? Hey Hezekiah, how the heck are you, my glass blowing buddy? It's good to see you. Well, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate that. The sad thing is the gas tax is for current ODOT expenses and doesn't go towards wider freeways or a Portland third bridge connecting Oregon to Washington. No, Mark, the ODOT gas tax that your governor is threatening to impose on you is to cover up a department's mistake. So you've got the Oregon Department of Transportation screwed up. And they didn't balance their budget. And now the governor's trying to put that on the backs of Oregonians, and shame on her. You guys need to recall her. You need to get her out of there. She's a piece of garbage. I wonder how much they have spent on that Columbia River Bridge already. Yeah. Why we let government try to do projects? They're no good at it. They don't know how to run a business. They don't have, that's what, excuse me, I'm going to do a little trumpet right now. That's why Trump's being successful. He knows how to negotiate. Whether you like him or not, you don't have, I don't care. It's up to you. You don't have to like him. You don't have to, it's whatever. But the dude knows how to negotiate. And so everybody freaks out because Democrats don't know how to negotiate. I mean, you have to play hardball. You go in and say, I'm going to ask for the world. When I went in to bargain my salaries for my work, I wouldn't go in there and go, well, it'd be nice to have a $5,000 raise. I went in and said, you need to give me a $25,000 raise this year. Here's the reasons why. And if you don't do this, I'm going to walk. You know how fast they'll give you half that? Pretty fast. And that's how you negotiate. And so now all these people see Trump doing this, and it's like people that have had their balls removed or something. And it's like, you have to play hardball with these people. These are smart people. These aren't like little, this isn't going and begging for please give me money. When you go and ask for a raise, you have to stand up to people and say, and bring facts and proof. And you say, this is what I'm going to do. And if you don't do this, I'm gone. You get a lot more that way than if you do and go in and say, well, I really need this job. Oh, man. There's a petition to recall her. I saw that. I hope it goes somewhere. I went from Newscomb to Tina Kotek. Well, you're just moving the wrong way, aren't you? Oh, God. Sorry, Wayne. Yep, the overspending is wasteful. Rick, a bit off topic, but the Tucker interview with Richard Werner explains, hold on, I'm losing you. A lot about banking and home values. Oh, Quinlan, I will go look at that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just heard one today with Charlie Kirk. I was impressed. It's good. Real fire for the Felon Attorney Oregon IRL. That's your name. It's like thinking they can build houses. I think Kotek created another group to look into affordable housing with her buddies. Naked corruption. It's amazing. This is the bullshit about affordable housing. The same people who keep saying we need affordable housing create rules and directives and laws. And, like in Eugene, one of the things that makes it so expensive to build a house is in a neighborhood is you got to help pay for curbs. And then you got to put in trees, and then you got to put in, and I like all those things. But what if you just had a neighborhood for people that are just getting started, and you didn't have to have a freaking curb, and you didn't have to have paved street. In Montana, we don't have paved streets. You could do some things like that to lower the cost of doing this. And then everything has to have a certain window and a certain, you've regulated the cost of building a house to the point where people can't afford it anymore. And and so the same people screaming about that, it drives me insane. Yeah, she sure rocked that, didn't she, Dennis? Oh, God, she looked like an idiot. I saw some videos of that. So you can't have both. It's like this woman who I was listening to, this liberal podcaster. She's super cool, Anna, and I wish I could remember her last name. I did start listening. I listened to another of her podcast today. But when she started getting hit by the left, she is the left, and she started. I've missed most of this. Did I miss the Epstein files? No, we haven't talked about that, Chase. But when she went after the homeless situation, saying what we're doing is this is what I've been saying for years. It's not compassionate to leave people on the streets, and you're encouraging it by the way that you're treating them. So you make it so that they don't stay on the streets, and you get the drug addicts and the people that really need the help that they need. But you don't. She was saying they've made it into this is the answer. And then they do nothing else about it except talk about how we need more affordable housing, and then end up renting complexes to put people in. Oh, I better stick around then. It's a juicy one. Oh, I wasn't even planning, Chase, to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. I do hope Trump changes his tune and come on, something's going on there. I mean, he didn't kill himself. God, I mean, come on. Everybody knows it. And he had ties to, well, I know what I think, but okay, let's take that one offline. It's too late. You already opened the Pandora's box now, Chase. But he, yeah. If you guys really want to listen to some great stuff on him, there's a podcast it's Tucker Carlson. So some of you are going to have to go cringe, but let's take that offline. Tucker, I'll tell you what, I didn't used to like him. I don't watch Fox, so I don't care. And I never really paid much attention to him before. But since he got fired and humbled, and the guy asks great questions on his podcast, and he doesn't take over the interview like a lot of people do. Um, and he's super smart. He lets people talk, but he's had some people on there who are very well connected, and they know what's going on. And there's going to be so much crap with that. And Trump, I think, blew it on that. That's one area where he and I don't agree. But there's probably lots of areas where Trump and I don't agree. But that's one area. Second area where he and I don't agree is what he did, what he's doing with Israel. I mean, I support Israel, but you shouldn't be funding. Don't get us into a war. Let them deal with their own stuff. We don't need to be the police of the world anymore. America can stop being the police of the world. We have young men in our society who can't even afford to buy a fucking house. And we're spending billions and billions of dollars funding a war in Israel and helping them. They've got a pretty good GDP. I think they can take care of themselves. We need to be taking care of the people in our country. That's what I think America First was all about, was like taking care of us and getting our hands out of all the dirty shit that we do all over the world. And that's Democrats and Republicans. Both have been doing that. Go look at Lebanon and what Hillary Clinton did there. Oh God, we're terrible. We're terrible. We need to get, you know what I mean? And when there's something in the Bible about make sure your own house is clean before you start messing with somebody else's. Well, we need to fix our own house. And right now we're funding all this other stuff. It's bullshit. Veronica, I totally agree with you. And what costs there were not affordable. Ryan, the game in Eugene is to build huge luxury apartments and they leave a small percentage as affordable. I own my house, thankfully. Yeah, but what is affordable? I don't think what I see is very affordable. And yeah, that's going to be the big nut. Well, and then there's a place. Couldn't you put in some kind of program for people, first-time buyers? I know there's first-time buyers program. I'd rather see the billions of dollars we're spending to fund wars used to help young families get into homes, and take the pressure off that. That to me, I mean, if we voted in America, how many people do you think would go, oh, I think we should be getting, tearing down another regime in Venezuela, let my kid suffer. Both sides stink. Yeah, well, yeah, there's a lot of corruption there. I was lucky to buy a home when the market crashed. Charlie Wilson's War was movie about a senator who took. You guys are writing a lot of stuff. You're going like crazy. Important when streaming to a profile viewer, comments should show up unless the stream is public on Facebook. I'm going to have to move in with my buddy Rick to save money. Chase, I don't have, oh, well, I do have room for you. Dang. Now what am I going to use for an excuse? Oh, you know what though? I can lock you in the downstairs and then you'd have your own separate entrance to come in and out. And I can put, when we do Airbnb, we have these heavy filter things that we can put on the doors so that you won't hear the noise coming from upstairs. I'd hate for you to hear the noise coming from upstairs. They need to allow counties to build in unincorporated areas in Oregon, like everywhere else. But you see the move in Oregon and in a lot of places is they're trying to chase people out of rural America and make them go into the cities. Have you guys noticed that? Oh, Rick, aren't you a seed reader? Do you mean a speed reader? Oh, a speed reader. I'm not a seed reader either. Oh, you're sick. I just want to save you your embarrassment when you move in. There's noise. Oh, well, you guys, we got half the world's problems solved tonight. I mean, really. Um, but no, seriously. So tomorrow, tune in if it is a sad story, but I think Michelle just needs to talk about it, and I think you will be um, charmed by and a reality check on the world. It it's so do we need to talk together? Yeah, we do. That's kind of how we started this whole thing. At some point, we do need to have these conversations between people on the left and people on the right. But I just think maybe it's not now is not quite the time. Um, a lot's happening in the world right now. Um, my husband sometimes does work at an apartment complex that are for low income individuals. It makes him sad because so many of the apartments they get filled up with garbage. He says it also bothers him that all these young people are still sitting around with nothing to do. How does that help them stay sober? Yeah, a lot of the well, people are frustrated, and when you're frustrated, you do things you might not otherwise do. You know, and it. One thing this guy said on this podcast today is this is not just young men staying home because they're lazy, you know, but we do need to reinvigorate. Um, I think, me personally, is the idea of give people good jobs, give them a good wage. We need to encourage people. Say you don't need to go to college. Um, there's a need for so many electricians right now and trade jobs, and those are 80, 90, $100,000 a year jobs, and that's just in the beginning. I mean, those are good paying jobs, and those are things that are, but we've kind of devalued the trades. I think this is my opinion. We've devalued that, and one thing that came out of the pandemic that was good, one thing, um, was that we realized the last thing on earth when you're having an emergency that you need is another college professor. I don't need another PhD. What I need is a freaking plumber. I need an electrician. I need somebody who can drive a truck to get the goods to the grocery store. Um, I don't need another politician. I don't need another doctor. What I need is people that can actually have a trade that they can do. Um, I don't need another podcaster. I don't need another media person. What I need is people who can do things with their hands. So maybe it's time that we as a culture honor that more, not make it like, there's parents that are embarrassed if their kids don't go to college. I have one that did and one that didn't, and both are doing fine. That's who they are, but maybe we encourage people to take these jobs that are going to provide a good living for them. Um, and, it's a great profession. I will pay a plumber anything. I hate doing plumbing. I'm bad at. I would rather wire something than try to plumb it. Um, I can drive heavy equipment. Chainsaws rule. Yeah, it's the same in the lumber industry. You know, where do you get the lumber? This is another thing about affordable housing. So it's such bullshit. The same people that scream for affordable housing are also screaming to shut down the woods, to keep loggers out of the woods because they want pristine old growth timber, when in fact, old growth timber dies. And people need to educate themselves before they buy into the latest. I know a lot about timber now after doing this timber shows, and I'm learning so much about this. But we have lied about the timber industry for so long, and then these same people that want curbs and new trees to make the development of a home more expensive are driving the prices of lumber up because they're supporting groups. Here's a little throw out for you. Yeah, I do. I know a lot about wood. Um, did you know? And I'm going to do a show on this. There's this equal justice clause, and it has nothing to do with timber. But anti-logging attorneys have taken this and found a loophole in there. So they actually get paid to fight timber sales by you and me through the federal government and federal dollars. Okay, now listen, now hold on. So we have anti-logging groups, Sierra Club, all those people with the big names. They've learned to manipulate the system and go through this little hole, this little loophole. And so we the people are paying them to shut down logging, whether we know it or not, or like it or not. We're paying for that. That's bullshit. I mean, that's total bullshit. And we're not just paying them $150 an hour like this, we're doing this for the good of the forest. We're paying them top rates like $400 and $500 an hour so that they can go in after a timber sale is sold, after the Forest Service has determined that it's legal, it meets the standards, they find a little NEPA problem, a little teeny little hole. They go to a judge who knows nothing about forest management, and they go to him or her and they file this, and then all the appeals and everything like that, all that you and I pay so that we can shut down the forests and put loggers in rural communities out of work. How do you feel about that? Yeah, that's got to change. But you know what? Most of us didn't know that, did we? I was at a meeting like 6 weeks ago, and they were talking about that. And I'm sitting in the meeting, and it's all these Montana loggers, they don't know who I am. I don't know who they are. I raised my hand. I said, "Are you telling me that we're paying for these?" And they went, "Yes." And then I just came out. I was in this meeting. And I went, "That is such horse shit." Everybody in the room just looked over like, "Who's that guy?" and started laughing. But that's what's happening. So it's those little things that we need to find out. I also had somebody laugh at me the other day or scoff me because I said, I learn a lot from listening to podcasts. And they said, "Oh, that's where you get your information?" And they get theirs. I said, "Where do you get yours?" PBS and CNN. Like you're scoffing me for getting information from private sources and listening and doing my homework and researching and talking to experts, and you're listening to Chicken Noodle News and PBS, and you're going to throw that in my face. That's the kind of shit that has to stop. We need to educate ourselves and figure out what the fuck is going on. Because if we don't, they're going to keep taking it over. And I'll tell you what, that's one thing I love that's happening in this country right now. Topsy-turvy, turn it over, blow up, it's upside down, it doesn't matter, and all of us who at one point had to be somewhat quiet, we're done. We saw what you did in COVID. We saw what you've done through. We're done. We're not going to listen to you anymore. We're going to speak our mind. We're going to figure it out. And you can keep regurgitating the same old bullshit, but we're going to figure it out, and heads will roll, and we're going to get America back on its feet again. And that's not Donald Trump. That's you and me. And we will do it. But we have to be educated, we have to be smart, and we have to go at this thing the right way. And we will. Spoon-fed by the Chicken Noodle News. I know, Cheryl, isn't that funny? Oh, God. So anyway, it's good talking to you guys. Nice to be around. Nice to see you. I've been gone for a week. I missed you guys. So tomorrow night, same time, 4:00 Oregon time, 5:00 Montana time. Really touching story, and these people could really use people's support. So I will see you right here, there. If you guys want to, it's up to you. Take this, share it on your page so other people can see it. And if you didn't agree with me, then I just tell people I'm an asshole. I hate that Rick Dancer. Oh, makes me sick. Barf. Can't stand that man. Now you know how I feel. And I got to live in here. I mean, people say I can't stand you. And I go, well, how do you think I feel? I'm with him 24 hours a day. I have to sleep with him. I take a shower with him. I go to the bathroom with him. I never get rid of him. So you think Rick Dancer's an asshole? Come talk to me. I know. I live with the guy. See you later. Oh, see you guys later on Facebook and all the other ends.